Hello and welcome to Call of the Void on Brutal difficulty. Let's let the narration go through.
Man, am I glad to see the two of you. My base is getting slammed by these void thrashers, and it can't take much more. I'm too busy fighting fires in here to handle them myself. You gotta destroy those thrashers before they destroy this fortress.
Now, as you can see, we're complaining about a previous failed attempt. So, Call of the Void on Brutal difficulty. We have two mutators, Void Reanimators and Void Rifts. Both of these are some of the harder mutators in the game, and the reason for it is just constant pressure. So various structures out here in the Void that the enemy has will produce Void Reanimators. A Void Reanimator will go to anywhere that an enemy unit has died and reanimate them back to life. In order to make this stop, you have to kill the Reanimators. So the more you kill enemies around the map in general, that means the more places they're just going to have enemies respawn and then rush your main base. Void Rifts spawn anywhere around the map that they feel like, you know, outside of the base range, of course. And in the course of doing so, will spawn enemies that rush your base. Now, you can get rid of Void Reanimators by getting rid of all of the enemy structures. They need an enemy structure in order to create themselves, and therefore Void Reanimators are a temporary thing if you full clear the map. On this map, freaking, like, if you full clear the map, you're done, so that's not a relevant issue. Now, Void Rifts, while they spawn and can't be gotten rid of, they will most usually create an enemy unit before they have a chance to be killed by any sort of competent commander. As such, both of these mutators require a static base defense in order to survive. Now, as you can see, we have a pretty nifty, strong combination of a defense, as our goal this map is to not kill any Void Rifts. And as you can see, this Reanimator just sort of comes in, immediately just starts bringing everything back, and we're going to need to actually focus him down to stop that. Now, our goal here is no Void Rifts. Void Rifts can spawn just right there in the expansion, so in order to not kill any Void Rifts for the entirety of the map, we have to move our defense straight to our main. We can't get our expansions because they spawn in the expansions, and we have to put them pretty far back so that they can't reach them. Now, Void Reanimators, they're just going to walk in, so, you know, whatever. And that be that. Now, as you can see, we took out the first Void Thrasher with the DT spawned by Vorazun. And this combination of prestiges is very necessary because we need Vorazun P3 basically time stop nukes in order to be able to actually kill the Void Rifts. And we need Karax P1 to survive with the defense. Now, the way that this defense was going to be able to survive all of the Void Rifts spawning is sort of an oversight on what the Void Rifts make. Because the longer we go through this, you can see just sort of the various units coming in. There are no detectors. Now, because there are no detectors, Dark Pylon with mastery for Dark Pylon range at max reaches so far, and all of this is Pylon range, by the way, that the enemy units just spawn, walk in, and then just can't hit any of the photon cannons because they just don't have vision of it. So we just make a big ass line of photon cannons, and there's nothing they can do about it. These poor Void Reanimators just trying their damnedest, but they just can't. They just can't. Now, Vorazun just going to continually make more and more Shadow Guards. Shadow Guard for the time being, basically exists to get rid of Void Reanimators. But we're using the Shadow Guard so that the time stop from the Prestige will just make more Void Reanimators so we can actually kill the Void Rifts when the time comes. Now Vorazun on the side of that is teching for Corsairs so they can actually just fly over, do it. See, like, the issue with Void Rifts is when you just get a lot of them over the course of the map, they just rush your base with a ton of shit. But because they don't have detection, there's nothing they can really do. So Karax defense, photon cannons with energizers to buff them up, because energizers buffing them up with speed is very good. No monoliths, because that risks them actually hitting a close by Void Rift. Like, that Void Rift's dangerously close for any monoliths to be around. Like, I put a bunch of photon cannons around the Dark Pylon so, like, a Zealot just can't come in and snipe it. And, like, you know, we're both putting photon cannons for support, though Karax's cannons are better because they have upgrades from the Forge that have been purchased. Now, these poor attack waves, because the enemy is also Terran, they don't have a lot of detection in the form of units. They have scan sweeps. Because they have scan sweeps, like, they just have to, like, manually do it. Now, here's the effect of P3 Vorazun. Time stop makes 8 Shadow Guard because that is the amount that we've made beforehand. Shadow Guard go in, snipe the Void Thrashers, and then just finish off with a little bit more damage. Actually, they just run away because we don't want to accidentally hit a Void Rift. And that's those Void Thrashers.
Multiple rifts on the field. Gonna have some thrashers to deal with
Or those rifts.
real soon.
And, you know, this just keeps going. There is a lot of Void Rifts on the map. We have yet to kill a single one.
Prepare yourselves.
The enemy onslaught, especially with the reanimators backing them up, is pretty nasty. I mean, not right now for some reason, but, you know, it'll get there. There's just nothing they can do. They're trying so hard, but they just can't reach. Like, they can get a few enemies with the proper range to snipe it, but they just can't reach it. And with Karax P1 healing, with like a shield battery on the side just for security's sake, like, those poor guys. No, even more Void Rifts, they're just everywhere. And it's just going to hold. It's just going to hold. It is a remarkably effective defense against freaking Void Rifts. They can't do anything about it. Now, like, because we have just sort of money to kill, we're just going to continually make more and more cannons. So as you can see, there is a lot of enemies. But, like, as you can also see, like, these poor guys. Now, the time has come for the attack. We got a couple Corsair here. They're cloaked, which means emergency recall will work on them. We don't want to actually kill any of these Void Rifts, which is why I went with Corsairs and not Oracles, because frankly, I don't trust my ability to not accidentally click them.
The enemy focuses their rage upon our pylons.
We're waiting for the void rifts to spawn,
Looks like the
and the moment we
thrashers
do,
have arrived. Let's kick 'em back
we
to
get
the void.
good spot of land, and then just manually click with the armies, each of them individually, so that we target them down without accidentally hitting a void rift on the way through. These do a little damage, but they're not the big thralls of killing them. And when they're gone, emergency recall will actually save a couple of these. This guy got saved by emergency
They are
recall.
moving swiftly.
And then the rest will
Look at that. An
slowly trudge back.
Probably a good idea to destroy it before they can use it. The rifts are opening. Won't be long before we gotta light up some thrashers.
And so yeah, that's this map. This makes the map incredibly trivial. The biggest threat using this strategy are the attack waves. Attack waves generally contain detectors with them. Because it's Terran, unfortunately they don't have any. Now siege tanks are going to be able to potentially get rid of those dark pylons by focusing them down. Unfortunately for them, while they do get it down, and can now fight this entire pile, the Energizers, bless their heart, also give off pylon range, so none of these shut down, even though there are no pylons in this area at all. By the time I eventually notice another dark pylon goes down, and everything is done. And, you know, again, we're just back to the status quo. There's nothing they can do. Freaking Karax is chilling so hard, doesn't even need to get solar efficiency. Now, the difference between photon cannons, you know, more weapon speed, more range. Because Forge, you know, we got photon cannon upgrades. So every photon cannon here that Karax has is just more efficient. That's ominous. You know, that's the unfortunate reality of fighting Terran, but you know, see that Raven there, they finally busted out a couple detectors with their attack wave, which is why attack waves are spookier than just the random spittle. As you can see, this is poor guys. These poor guys. So yeah, we now have another herd of Corsair, and we're gonna go rush in for the Void Rift spawn. Except we gotta wait for the Void Rifts.
There's your objective,
So there they are now.
Show those
Just gonna walk past them. That thing can see them, but oh well. Spawn them, and now we're gonna rush these things.
Some solid work there.
So you know that.
Only 3 void thrashers left.
That's quite a bit of Shadow Guard, which is the reason you get freaking P3 Vorazun. It turns Time Stop into a super nuke. And just rushing that last Void Thrasher. We'll just barely have enough to actually take it out, but that's that map with no killing any Void Rifts, and it wasn't even close.